Hello, Abigail here with Tarotscopes for Libra season, Scorpio sun, moon, and rising. Are my Scorpios? This season is going to be pretty heavy for you just based on the cards. I want to get that out of the way. It does feel like this is going to be really intense. Yes, we are out of eclipse season, but remember that final eclipse is right on the day before we go into Libra season. So 2 weeks of Libra season are already kind of taken up with this kind of eclipse runoff. Also, when the sun enters Libra, we have a bunch of astrology happening. I do have a longer video on that if you want to watch it. I'll link it below. But it's all really intense and doesn't really clear up till like the 13th or 14th of October. So, yeah, there's a lot happening. It's going to be overwhelming. The kind of one astrological bright side is that you are going to have Mars in your sign in domicile. So at least Mars is somewhere comfortable. It is your ruler of whatever is in this house. If you are a Scorpio rising, that's the ruler of your chart. If you're a Scorpio sun, moon, or anything else, that is the ruler of that. So on the bright side, whatever you're doing in this month is progressive, even if it doesn't feel like it. Also, Venus will be going into Libra, and Mercury will be going into Scorpio. And also, kind of a note, this is the precursor that's going to happen in your season, Scorpio season, to the Mercury retrograde. That is going to be partially in Sagittarius and partially in Scorpio. If you notice, we have basically there's a trifecta that happens within a Mercury retrograde, and so all of them have been happening in fire signs, and now we're switching over to a water sign. So past few years we've had these fire retrogrades. Now we are going into water retrogrades with a bit of carryover because astrology doesn't exactly happen between specific degrees all the time, and that's a good thing. Anyways, that's kind of your info dump at the beginning of this. But this is your archetype card, the shadow. There's going to be a lot in this season that's going to challenge you. We are going to be kind of kicking off some really testy astrology. And while Venus entering into Libra is going to be really nice, Venus is also going to be hitting off all of that astrology that the Sun and Mercury and Mars have already interacted with. So you are going to have to face parts of yourself that may have been a little hidden, or just a parts of you that don't get to see the light of day often. This is also about destigmatizing different parts of yourself, the parts of you that are angry, the parts of you that are sad, the parts of you that you have been told are not socially acceptable. This is a time to really reconsider what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Shadow work, well, I think a lot of people think about shadow work as in like removing stuff. A lot of shadow work is integration. A lot of shadow work is bringing back the shadow as a part of the whole. And that is something that you are going to be called to do in this season. It is not easy. It is going to highlight the destabilization and dysfunction in your relationships. It is going to highlight how people interact with and treat you, and what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. So just keep that in mind. Recognize the themes that are happening, and also be gentle on yourself this season. A lot of stuff is going to be happening under the surface, while a lot of external pressures are going to be happening, which is going to, I do really believe, leave you with a sense of helplessness, because so much internal stuff happening, but nothing really external in your life, and then the world just kind of speeding by. Say, Abigail, why so doom and gloom? It's because I'm looking at the cards. And it's not doom and gloom. I think once you get into Scorpio season, you're looking at some of the best growth and gifts of 2025, but Libra season is really a pinch pot, especially if you are a Scorpio rising. This is your 12th house season, so it is not a huge shock that you are engaging with the shadow self. And Scorpio does contain shadow, and domicile to Pluto, domicile to Mars. Scorpio contains multitudes, and oftentimes they are the multitudes that we are often most afraid of. So it is time to face your fears. And a lot of those fears are going to be fears that live inside of your body. Doesn't mean they're not real, it simply means that you have to face them. Starting off with the Two of Pentacles, lots of choices, lots of decisions, having to balance between what is right for you and what is best for you, and what is right in a absolute, maybe more rigid sense, and what is right for you right now in this moment, and having to recognize that that isn't always the same, and you don't have to do what is right externally all the time if there is a different right for you internally. My kind of thing with those types of decisions where we end up choosing something that is better for us in the moment, but that might cause long-term issues, is to just make it a conscious choice. Be like, I am choosing this dynamic. I am choosing to stay where I am and to do the work that this requires me to do. And yes, maybe leaving the situation or this job is the best, would be the best overall, but I'm just not ready. And that's a completely legitimate situation. It is going to continue to lead to, having to navigate really difficult stuff. Um, so yeah. Um, just know that these are the choices that are coming up. Be conscious. I also think for a lot of you, a lot of past life stuff is going to be coming up. Looking at the intensity of these, they're all minor arcana, but they are intense. Minor arcana. There are the majors and the minors. The majors are kind of bigger themes and more concentrated energies, and the minor arcana is more like day to day and shorter term experiences. Excuse me. So, Two of Pentacles, you have choices to make. I think some of these choices are past life choices. Some of these choices are not going to look like the right choice on the external side to some people, but they are the right choice for your soul in this moment. Some of you are finishing out cycles that have to be finished, where yes, you could leave early, but you need to put a period in it. Some of these cycles are just, you don't have the energy to handle that big of a shift or change. That's also fine. It is going to lead to this feeling, Eight of Swords. So recognize that this season is rough, and the next three cards I have for you are all very much this vibe. Swords and Wands, delays, overwhelm. There's a child's book called Going on a Bear Hunt. I quote my partner all the time. And it says, we're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. And then it goes, oh no. And then there's some kind of obstacle. And they're like, we can't go under it. We can't go over it. Oh no, we have to go through it. And why am I quoting children's books to you? It's because, especially 2025, has felt very much like hitting a delay, being like, how can we avoid it? And then recognizing that you have to walk through it. And that if you avoid it, you are just going to continually keep finding different situations of the same kind, hauling you up short and forcing you to walk through it. And if you keep avoiding it, you're going to keep creating those situations instead of ending it. I do think for some of you, karmic remediation might be really helpful, especially like on the cusp between Libra and Scorpio season. Once again, like I tell most people, you don't have to pick me. I do karmic remediation, but think about it. Do some research. Some signs of karmic remediation, which I just posted this on my threads. Lifelong dynamics and toxic cycles, where you just keep finding the same people and the same situations and the same, even if it's not the same dynamic, it's the same energy. Things kind of feeling larger and bigger than as what they present in like the physical world, where you're like, this should be a normal difficulty or situation, but I feel like it's the end of the world. And then also, just a sense of kind of discouragement and doneness because you can't get out of these energetic loops. And you'll know the time is right when you're desperate for change, when you don't want to take it anymore, when you are ready to let go of pretty much anything in order to end these cycles. I don't mean desperate as in like a complete wreck, just this feeling of being done, this feeling of being over it. And I bring this up because we then have a 10 of swords. There's just extreme exhaustion this year. It has really beat you up. My kind of advice to remediate and deal with this energy is to invest in as much outdoor pleasure time as you can. Going to parks, going to graveyards. I love going to graveyards in the fall, honoring the dead, spiritual practice, connecting with guides. Also, something fun I'm learning as I grow my client base and interact more and more with a diverse set of people is, if you culturally, historically, and sometimes not, but often this is tied to ancestry, have a pantheon of gods who are really hardcore. The one that comes to mind are the Hindu gods. A lot of the gods from different cultures, from different African, it's hard to say African countries because, Africa has been divided up by colonialism and a lot of it isn't along cultural lines. Um, at least from my understanding, a lot of gods from Africa, Persia, modern day Iran, kind of what we consider what is like the Swana region, and then down into Africa, are very, very aggressive. And not in a bad way. They just want what they want for the people that belong to them. And so if you are avoiding working with deities, or if you don't know that you're being called but you feel very stuck, I find that those pantheons do not F around. If they want something for you, they will block you until you get on the right path. And the best way to deal with that is to work with them. So this message was for very specific people. If it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But this sense of overwhelm often comes from deity work that is either being ignored or avoided, also ancestral work that is being ignored or avoided. I find with spirits, it's a little more fluid. If you're not wanting to do it, or you're not ready, it's like, well, I could help, but I guess you don't want me to. With ancestors and with deities, it's a little more stringent, depending on who you're working with. Some pantheons don't care. The Greek pantheon's pretty chill. They tend to, be okay with different things. Part of it's by how like diverse the cultural base is now. It's kind of a weird way, like the Greek gods and the Roman gods have been like inducted into whiteness, so there's a lot more Western acceptability. I don't agree with that. Neither here nor there, but they tend to be a little more loosey goosey. However, if one of those bigger pantheons, a little more stringent, are calling to you, they will block things until you work with them. And they are not about loosening up. I have a couple clients who need to work with them and are avoiding it, and it's hard if you avoid it. And you have to also do a lot of hard work once you join it. Very beneficial. I'm not crapping on those pantheons. Those are some powerful deities and great to work with. They just have very specific things that they want, and they stand on them, and they have a lot of intense energy. And then we have the Seven of Wands. A lot of delays. A lot of the delays have to do with your lack of energy. A lot of delays have to do with you having to face your shadow self and to work through those things first. It's just going to feel like you know what you want to do, or you feel like you know what you want to do, and nothing seems to be working out. I encourage you to release the need to have any kind of closure in this season, and to really focus on how you feel and what you need and what you're doing on the internal side, and trust the external stuff is still going to happen. Part of the reason I believe this is last but not least, we do have our lovely Queen of Pentacles. Stuff is happening. But there are some things that you have to work through on the internal side that you're not going to see the fruits of your labor until that's done. Basically, you have blinders on until you get this work done. And then they'll open up and you're going to have a lot more opportunity on the other side. Specifically in Scorpio season, I think it's going to be a good season for you. Yes, there's still a lot of tricky stuff happening, but know that this is a hard season. Know that the eclipses are still influencing things. Know that we have all of these massive grand trines happening. But also know that stuff is progressing. It just feels very internal. And that is just as valid as external stuff. I know in capitalism, we're always kind of railed on, and we do have genuine physical consequences if external stuff isn't happening. But give yourself some time this season to really get in touch with the shadow, to really sit with where you are and what you want. I do have to bring this up because it's here, bottom of the deck, Judgment and the Three of Swords. Tons of karmic work happening, tons of karmic work around past life trauma. Just buckle up and hang in there. It'll get better once we move out of Libra season. And even as we head out of Libra season, you're going to start to feel this Mother of Pentacles. Just know where we are right now. And I am sending you all the energy in the world to sit with this difficult situation. I don't have tons of Scorpio by chart, but I'm definitely feeling those vibes currently. So I am with you in spirit in this. And I really hope that the work in the overwhelm and in the delays, that the work really gives you life and gives you hope. Anyways, my loves, please like and subscribe if you enjoy my stuff, and I will see you in a different place and time. Blessed Libra season.